people, and welcome back to G4G Games for Gamers. Today we are finalizing a look over here in MAA Marvel Avengers Alliance at the X-Force costumes. I had forgotten about two of them in video number 1, so here in video number 2 I'm going to go ahead and polish those off, and we'll give a final verdict on the X-Force costumes and see if any of them are worth a purchase, or if we're going to change our minds from the first video. So real quick, checking in on my PvP team. My former defensive team with the nerf to the tankard unfortunately bottomed out. It was Heimdall and Sandman, and really what the goal of it was to get the Neurotrope and the Finest Hour type buffs and make use of them, and then they fell down 100 points last night, and they really hadn't done that bad prior, so I switched it back. But I do not have any defensive battles going on with the old team back in place except for the cube in there, so I really don't know how they're doing. The attacking team has taken a little bit of a hit in turn order now that the Asgardian tankard has been nerfed, but they're still doing exactly what they need to do. Most things are done in one round. The Asgardian tankard is no longer giving Rocket Raccoon crits. It's no longer giving Iron Patriot a extra turn. It now only works against the agent, which, to be honest, is still pretty solid for me. I've decided to keep the tankard in because if somebody went before my agent and I'm debuffed, this is a free cleanse in round 1. Plus, it gets rid of things on the enemy team, say like potential infiltrator combat reflexes that have already procced, maybe the Mystic, Savant Spear Shield. So it allows me to go Black as Void and do the Obliterator in round 1. So I'm going to keep it. It still means something to the team. So, taking a look over here at the remaining X-Force costumes that I didn't touch upon, we have to look at Angel, and we have to look at Fantomex. Now, for Angel, we have to look at specifically Archangel. Modern Angel has had no changes to himself. However, Uncanny X-Force, or X-Force Archangel as it were, he is the one who has the changes now. I had his Scrapper uniform, mostly because I happened to get his A ISO that says Nanoplague hits everybody. Beast's Nanoplague only has a 60% chance to proc now. This is 100%, and it now goes AoE. Everybody hates X-Force Archangel. I still picked them up because I didn't want the Generalist bonus. I did go with Scrapper, not Blaster, because it was slightly before the triple tankard season. So, here we go. I have his AISO, which means Pestilence will hit everybody. And let's look at his abilities. Natural Selection, allied Uncanny X-Force members, so himself, Psylocke, Fantomex, Wolverine, and Deadpool. Allied Uncanny X-Force members gain Fatal Blow to their 4th action. So, for himself, that means death. For Psylocke, that means Psychic Knives. For Deadpool, it means, obviously, his Silly Gun. And for Wolverine, we'll take a look at. For Phantom, it's Avni Ava. Okay, so 3 rounds Tech Summon, so it has a cooldown. And over here with Wolverine, it's going to be his Feral Ambush, another one with a cooldown. But it's a stun, so you're probably going to want to use it. Yeah, I think it is kind of a weak ability, to be honest. And the reason is, everybody's on a cooldown on their level 4, so it's not spammable. Some people, like Wolverine, you may want to use that early, and you may not have it up again, so it's probably not going to be in range of the Fatal Blow. Deadpool, let's be honest, his 4th ability, his level 9's pretty much a kill anyway. You kind of don't need Fatal Blow on that ability, especially if you've ramped him up properly. could you cheat and skip a move and go right to it and kind of use this fatal blow? I yeah. Death. This guy, he does. It's brutal strike already, so fatal blow is sort of like a Twinkie on top of a Twinkie here, but um, it's hey, on psychic knives. I don't think it's particularly bad to add it to psychic knives, and honestly, who's really going to be using Fantomex? Um, I think Tactician, X-Force, Psylocke, and that move from Angel is not a bad idea. And having everything that Angel does be stealthy, I think that's not too bad to have everything Angel does be stealthy. So that's War with Deadly Crits and Pain, stealthy. That's AoE, Nano Plague on the whole team, that's stealthy. Famine, Despair, stealthy, and then Death. So yeah, that's not horrible. I can definitely think of worse combinations. Fantomex, let's take a look at him. He has actually one of the more solid passives. The thing is, you have to bring Fantomex to it, and that's the rough thing to it. The good thing is he's a tactician, so that's not too bad. 20% chance of negating enemy attacks. Chance to dodge increases for an Uncanny X-force ally after being successfully attacked to a maximum of 70%, and reduces it to 20% upon a successful dodge. So it is actually like the comic meter from lockboxes, the comic covers. Every time something negative happens, you get a bonus, and then when the good thing happens, it resets and goes back down to normal. Does not affect enemies immune to psychic effects. So Magneto, Juggernaut are out. Cable and Phoenix, not too sure how that'll work out. But for only 2 characters in the entire roster, it's not too bad. This thing with misdirection and his E-ISO, duplicitous, empowered gentleman Cambrier. um, it sort of makes him viable in the sense that reality hacking, or the cube, with Blackest Void, this E-ISO says that you will perform a follow-up when enemies attack each other. So if you have them distracted and smacking each other, he's going to jump in with an extra attack. It's a stretch. I'm not going to go on record and say it's super horrible, but it's not bad. And as somebody on the wiki was quoted saying, Kestrel, it's not like Fantomex could get any worse. So really, the only place Fantomex can go is up. You don't have to buy another uniform to get this. It's just automatically attached to his current one. So does this mean all of a sudden you're going to see a bunch of Fantomex running around? I don't know what he does on defense. It's been years since I've seen him on defense. He doesn't really have a buff over here, so he can't benefit from that. He's not tech. Well, okay, Alonzi is tech. Yeah, and this one is tech, so maybe you can build him up with a little bit of bonus to tech, upgraded technology and everything like that. If you have the cube, I think he's going to be a little bit better. Whether or not reality hacking dodges will reset your counter, I don't know. But I think if he is properly ISO'd for evasion over defense, at least himself, and you maybe ran him with either other evasion people or X-Force people geared to be slightly evasive, yeah, it might be nice, and it might slow some damage on, and it could potentially be good simply as a buff for AFK defensive PvP. So seeing Archangel and seeing Fantomex, what combinations should work, and which are the purchases? Well, I would say tactical Psylocke to me is still number one. You can still run her with the synchronized empowered ISO when you get her to 13, and still run that like super punchy potential offense. She may not be paired with Quicksilver anymore. Everything, it's sort of a waste because everything Quicksilver does is largely stealthy anyway, except for the stun. So that's not necessary. The only other person that gives people stealthy is Damian Hellstrom, and you have to use an ability for it. You don't start with it, so to give another uncanny person stealthy is good. And where I think the best combination is Fantomex, Psylocke, and Spiral's Heroic. Fantomex is kind of, he's the goat in that one. He's just a poor goat that gets his ass beat because he's a tactician in there with an entire field of infiltrators, and he has one stealthy ability. If you are still farming for ISOs from that heroic, I personally think that Psylocke, with this ability, and now unfortunately it would make her a tactician in a field of infiltrators, but if you still wanted to go infiltrator with Psylocke, Butterfly Effect is going to help Fantomex actually do something other than run one ability in that entire fight. So if you still need to farm that heroic, Psylocke on her Uncanny X-force suit and Fantomex is going to be really good on that one. Now, Spiral obviously is not being added to this. There was a interview with the devs for this, and they basically said that she's X-force, but she's not Uncanny. That there was a particular author, Renmer, I don't really remember the exact pronunciation of the name or the spelling at this time. I read it briefly, but to sum it up, they basically said we are running with a specific incarnation of Uncanny X-force, and right now we've got the people that we want in it. There may come a time when we add others, but right now she is, even though she's X-force, she's not Uncanny X-force, and she's had no change. So Fantomex is decent, but again, it still means you're running Fantomex, which is a problem. Psylocke is still the top spot. After that, it's kind of everything else. Angel, I happen to have already. Should you go out and get Angel to get Fatal Blow on their fourth action? Honestly, that's up to you. If you've got a plan in mind and there is a level 4 out there that you think is really good, yeah, then go for it. I think Psylocke does a lot of damage, at least on her level 1. I don't see the knives coming out that often. When I did, I could swear they were still pretty good, so that might be nice. Fantomex, Deadpool's ridiculous. I can't see a reason why you would give that to Deadpool, because if his level 9 isn't killing somebody anyway, there's something wrong. Boonbuster given back to Angel, I don't think he does enough damage. Now the Generalist Angel with the finest hour buffs and Boonbuster if the enemy has buffs, that might be meaty, but Angel I think is a low person. Fantomex, I think if you have the cube and his ISO, comes up a few notches on the ladder, but other than that, the first video's stance still stays the same, and in this one, I think Fantomex gets a little bit of a bonus, but not much. Now, the other nerf that's gone into effect in this particular patch is this one. The Psychic Amplifier has only a 30% chance now to raise all stats for one round. So each person that it hits only is going to have a 30% chance to get the buff. I was thinking of putting that here for the tankard, just so that I could get it out, and if if Pepsi hasn't used his 21 gun salute yet, it's going to be super beefy. Not worth it. Not with the the nerf to it, I would be better off running Warbringer Axe over here, or getting rid of Rocket Raccoon and running like Warbringer Hulk or X-23 or something like that. Because honestly, War Machine is doing the meat of my offensive team, but Rocket Raccoon jump in for this gun and jump in for the 21 gun salute is usually the icing on the cake to put a team down. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, the second video here on the Uncanny X-force suits, and a little bit of a discussion on the Tankard and the Amplifier nerfs that we've got. So, let's see how things pan out in PvP. I've got to admit, I've seen one or two odd ones today. Not really seeing that preponderance of tacticians like we thought, especially now that the Tankard's been thrown in the dirt. So, I'm not even seeing a whole bunch of Warrior 3 teams to counter it, to make use of the Tankard. So, we'll see how things go, and to all you Tankard or Psychic Amplifier guys and Bashenga guys and all that, yeah, I feel for you guys. I think it sucks that you sort of begin to build a team around something and then Playdom kind of rips the rug out from you. So take care, everybody, and stay tuned for more videos here on G4G.